How did NTSC, PAL affect 80s Commodore 60 for games? Imagine playing your favorite game and noticing it feels a little off. Maybe it's slower, or the colors look strange. That's because of the difference between the NTSC and PAL video standards used during the 1980s. The Commodore 64, a popular home computer, was sold in both regions, but these standards made a big difference in how games looked and played. NTSC, used mainly in North America and Japan, ran at about 60 frames per second, giving smoother animations. PAL, common in Europe and parts of Asia, operated at 50 frames per second, which meant games could look a bit choppier. The hardware inside the Commodore 64 also differed slightly. The NTSC version had a CPU and video chip running at about 1.02 to 7 MHz. The PAL version ran at around 0.985 MHz. This meant that games designed for NTSC often ran about 17% faster than their PAL counterparts if they weren't specifically adjusted. When importing American games to Europe, players sometimes noticed that the gameplay felt sluggish or that timing was off because of this difference. On the visual side, PAL offered a higher vertical resolution of 576 lines, compared to 480 in NTSC. This meant that PAL screens could display sharper images with more detail. But because PAL displayed only 50 frames per second, animations and fast-moving gameplay appeared less smooth than on NTSC systems. For players used to the faster, smoother animations of NTSC, this could feel like a slower game experience. Game developers faced challenges when porting titles from NTSC to PAL. They had to decide whether to speed up the game logic to match the slower refresh rate or accept the slower gameplay. Many games in the 1980s were not optimized for PAL, which sometimes caused them to run slower or display colors incorrectly on PAL televisions. Some PAL TVs or monitors needed special adjustments to display colors properly, or the game might appear in black and white if the signal was not compatible. The Commodore 1080 for monitor was popular because it supported both NTSC and PAL signals, helping to reduce display issues. Still, the core hardware differences meant that gameplay could vary quite a bit depending on the region. For gamers in Europe, slower but sharper visuals were common, while North American players enjoyed faster gameplay with slightly lower resolution. This regional variation added a unique flavor to the Commodore 60 for experience, making it a part of the nostalgia of 1980s gaming. In the end, NTSC and PAL standards shaped how games looked and played during that era. The slower speed and higher resolution of PAL contrasted with the faster, smoother experience of NTSC. Many games weren't perfectly adapted for both, which is part of what makes the history of Commodore 60 for gaming so interesting. It was a time when technology differences created unique gaming experiences across different parts of the world.